I want to talk about how to solo Legendary Hound of Xoriat. Like I said earlier, this tutorial is really going to be aimed at people who are exclusively soloers and but you want Threads of Fate, and maybe you're not real good at soloing raids, and you just don't feel like there's a path for you to get Threads of Fate, and you don't get a lot from Hound of Xoriat, but at least you can get some. And I feel like, if people are in that boat and they're looking at that list of raids that give, Threads of Fate, which is, end game raids, and they're going down that list to try to figure out, like, okay, which ones of these might I be able to solo? I feel like when people get to Hound of Xoriat, they probably gloss, most people gloss over it and think, oh, no, that can't be soloed. But in reality, it can be soloed, and it's not that hard. It's sort of like intricate. I mean, you definitely want to be prepared. You want to, very precisely know what to do and execute that plan. But once you get practice, it's not too bad. And it's going to take you some practice to get the process down. Um, but it's totally doable. And here's the thing. You don't have to run through the subtrain to do Legendary Hound of Xoriat. The entrance is right there in the middle of the marketplace, so you're not wasting time running to it. And it's a quick raid. If you fail, you only spent 5 minutes failing it, right? It doesn't take long to practice it. Okay, so the preparations that I've made are I've dumped my falconry, and I wanted to get Harper leadership. So, because that gives all my hirelings summoned and charmed creatures +4 to all ability scores. And so that's going to affect the puppies that I charm in Hound of Xoriat. Okay. I also happen to be a shifter. So over in the shifter tree, I decided to go ahead and take augment summoning. Now, if you don't have that option, that's okay, because you can actually get augment summoning from, there are some items in the game. Like, I would typically use the Epic Roderick's Wand, but that may not be the easiest thing to come by. There's also the Necklace of Mystic Eidolons. There's some other items as well. I actually wouldn't recommend the Necklace of Mystic Eidolons because it can proc shadows, and the shadows can really disrupt things because they can start, pulling aggro away and just make things a little messy in Legendary Hound of Xoriat. But you could use that if that's all that you had. But just be aware that the shadows could mess things up. So I got Augment Summoning. I've got Harper Leadership. I don't have Greater Augment Summoning. That is a feat that I could take if you were really serious about this, but I'm going to show you that you don't need that to do it. I don't feel like respecking my feats just to take Augment Summoning, but you could if you wanted to. I also have twisted Crusade, Sacred Ground, and Consecration, because when you have Crusade and there's Consecration going, then you and your allies get plus 10% enhancement bonus to the damage of my attacks. And the key here is getting those puppies super buffed. You want to make them as strong as possible. And so that's a little extra damage there. I also have Primal Scream twisted in. That's going to give me and anybody around me, the puppies, a +5 morale bonus to strength and constitution, making them not only more durable but stronger, doing more damage. I'm also going to make sure I have important buffs, like how about Pack Strength? That gives me some additional strength for the puppies, and +6 actually. And then I have Bull's Strength, and Bear's Endurance will give them a little bit of Constitution, making them tougher. You don't really need that on Legendary. On Heroic, the puppies are pretty flimsy, but on Legendary they're pretty robust. They're probably not going to die by accident. In fact, they're in for purposes of soloing, they're not going to die by accident. You're either going to get it right in 5 minutes, or you're not going to get it right and you're going to try again. I also have this artifact just for purpose of soloing this raid, which I put a 3-piece Cry of Battle set in. I have my normal artifact and necklace unequipped. You can only have one artifact equipped at a time. So I have my Dr. LaRue's Thingy Dingy. I have the 3-piece Cry of Battle set. The 2-piece gives +4 ability scores, +20 melee power, +20 PRR and MRR to all my hirelings, pets, and summoned creatures. That includes the charmed puppies. And then the 3-piece set doubles that. I also have 3 Druid Pass Lives. Each Druid Pass Live gives +2 to all the ability scores of pets and summons and charms and stuff like that. I also have a Haste Clicky. And the Haste Clicky I'm using is the Epic Goggles of Time Sensing that has 5 charges of a Haste Clicky, but you could just cast the Haste spell, or if you don't have another Haste Clicky, you can just go buy scrolls of Haste. The scrolls only last 30 seconds, but they just keep recasting. It's fine. And I think that's everything in terms of preparation. Now, I don't solo this regularly, so this might take me a couple tries to get it right. We'll see. I'm also in Unyielding Sentinel, and Unyielding Sentinel is going to make me immune to knockdown because, when you have Steadfast here, it says you cannot be knocked down while standing against the tide, and stand against the tide is the stance that I choose. Where do I have that? Right here. I don't know why I have that there. We'll just move it over there. And that's important in this raid because CZ will overrun you. And if you keep getting overrun, you're not going to be doing anything because it's just going to be knockdown, 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 knockdown. The only thing you're going to get out of that is frustration. Okay. Let's make this happen. Legendary normal. Buff myself. There's ZZ and her 3 puppies. And what I'm going to do is ignore them. When I did the heroic solo years and years ago, I sent the wolf in to distract them. That only seemed marginally effective, but you could experiment with that. But for me, I'm just going to do this. All right, let's go. So I'm just going to make a circle to pick up 3 control stones. I'm not a high DPS build. This is a caster tank, so I don't beat these mobs down super fast. But we'll get it done. Okay, there's control stone number 1, and I can see the puppies are loose already. You got to be careful on the AoEs because you can see a puppy just came over here and now he's going to get hit by the AoEs. But the puppies are really robust, so like I said, they're probably not going to die by accident. Okay, there's control stone number 2, and ZZ will probably come out right about now and start harassing me. You also want to make sure you clean up the trash because this stuff is just going to get in the way. You need to make sure that trash is not a thing. There's ZZ. Now she's going to start harassing me. Okay? I'm not too concerned about it. You can duck and weave, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, that whole thing. Or you could just stand there if you want. But see, here's the thing. If she gives you the bees, because I know if she does the bee breath to me and I roll a 1, I'm going to get the bees, and that's going to suck. And if you get the bees, just restart. Okay, there's my Xoriat control stone. Now I'm going to run into the center. Okay. Now it's clutch time. Charm Puppy 1. Put some distance between you and the dogs, because if you're not facing them, you'll fail. And then you'll lose the control stone. So if they're right up in your grill, then, there's a likelihood that they'll move just a little bit. so that you'll fail. All right, let's do a primal scream. I've got the bees. That's not good. And I cannot cast my buffs now because I got the bees, and that really sucks. I'm going to go ahead and intimidate ZZ. You don't have to do that if you're not an intimitank. That's fine. You can just let the puppies tank them and just keep the puppies healed. So this run may be a fail because you need... ooh, I can still do Crusade when I've got the bees. You need to beat her down really, really fast. And I was not able to buff them. And you got these Protector of ZZs here, and they're going to come in and they're going to start pulling the aggro of the dogs, and that sucks. So, and I can't really do anything right now. Well, I guess I can intimidate them. But yeah, it looks like they pulled it. So I got the bees, and that sucked. And I can't beat these Protectors down fast enough to get those dogs back on there. So I'm just gonna, well, let's see if I can pull this out. Okay, so the puppies are back on ZZ, so this was not an ideal run. Let's do all my buffs. Primal Scream. Let's give him another Consecration. Let's give him another Haste. Okay, now I need to hit this puppy with some buffage. And then don't move them around too much because then the puppies aren't hitting them. Are they all hit? Ah, I got it. Okay, so even though things got a little hairy because I couldn't cast spells because I had the bees, I was still able to get it. Those buffs were more than enough. They lasted plenty long enough to still get the solo. Now, I've actually soloed this on Legendary Hard as well. I've only done it once. I only tried once. I just wanted to see if I could do it, and I did it. And the trick there was just doing all that as fast as possible. So that, not at all an ideal run, but that's great. I'm glad we captured that because it shows like I didn't even need those buffs. Those puppies were way over buffed with what I had, that even though I couldn't give them bull strength and pack strength right away because I got the bees and it made me unable to cast, and I couldn't give them Primal Scream right away, I still had plenty of time to do what needed to be done. So that's great. So, you know, things start to go sideways a little bit on you, you know, you can recover. And that's how you can solo Legendary Hound of Xoriat and start getting your Threads of Fate. And guess what? When you get good at it, work up to hard, because hard is totally soloable. It's definitely tighter, you know, it's you know, the mobs are tougher, but if you can DPS those trash mobs down fast enough, then you know, you can totally solo hard. I have a video up of me soloing hard. It's a giant mess, but it's the only time I ever tried it, but it's doable. So I want you guys to know that this is a soloable raid. You only get 6 Threads of Fate, and that really sucks. You know, it's going to take you a long time to build up the Threads of Fate that you need if you are exclusively a soloer. But like I said, at least, you know, hopefully some of you out there realize now that there is a path for you to get some Threads of Fate if you're a soloer. Hell yeah. And thanks for joining me for this.